Hey everybody, what is going on? It's Brian with you from TheGameCommon, and we're playing some more Planet Coaster. We're continuing our Westworld Let's Build. So first and foremost, let me apologize. It has been way too long since I put out a Planet Coaster video. I think I mentioned it in my last episode, but I was helping out with a dance production studio, their performance of the Nutcracker over the last couple weekends, and so that's basically been, basically I've not had a day off in like 2 weeks, so it's been really hard to find the time to actually record, so that's why we've been a bit sporadic. I don't really have anything on my schedule over the next couple weekends, so I should be pretty good. I am actually now leaving town though for Christmas, which I wasn't planning on that originally. My wife was gonna have to work, but it turns out she doesn't have to work now, so I'm gonna be going to my parents' house over Christmas vacation, which, yay, that's exciting. Unfortunately, that means I'm just gonna have to get a backlog going, but all that to be said, I'm planning on getting a little more reliable with these Planet Coaster videos over the next few weeks, and I really want to get I want to get further on this Westworld campaign, or this Westworld, what do you want to call it, park, than I have been. It's been a little bit, I keep seeing all these tweets from all these people putting out these videos, and I'm like, I want to do Westworld, I want to play more Planet Coasters, so I'm excited to actually be playing the game again. It's been a lot of fun. We're working on the queue for our giant roller coaster. In this episode, we end up getting this building finished, and then I end up basically putting the layouts for, like 5 or 6 more buildings, and the Western Town basically is starting to come together, and you'll see here in a little bit how it's actually starting to come together, and I'm pretty excited with I think the direction we're going with it. Here I was basically trying to find some sort of supports to hold up our little overhang here. Eventually I find the wood pillars. Like, I could not freaking find the wood pillars. I kept looking and looking and looking, and there were stucco pillars and everything but wood pillars, but we got the wood pillars. All right, I'm house sitting a dog right now, and he's getting a little into it. I don't quite know what's going on. He just came from outside. We have like this back patio that overlooks the lake, and he loves to just sit out there. We're on like the 2nd story, and he just sits out there and just stares at like people. We've had a leaf blower guy here like nonstop over the past like month because we have so many trees, and it's just been like non-freaking stop. So I think he's just been like spying on that guy, or he could be watching the goats. We have like an island across from our condo, and there's like a bunch of goats that are out there, and he'll sit out there and watch them as well. But anyways, we are working on a building. Yay. We got a rollercoaster sign. I was trying to figure out something to put on the side of the building. I ended up, looking at these, what are these, A-frames, or I don't know what their exact name is, and I just didn't really like how that looks, so we ended up just kind of going with that little overhang there, and then we found these little wood pieces just to kind of get that little corner and just make it, nice and fresh looking. And then we decided, well, since we had a door over here, we should probably put a pathway over there. Unfortunately, I had to work quite a bit with just the raise tool. We have the intensity and everything really low, and I was just trying to basically raise it up so the pathway wasn't like sideways, because that just wouldn't make as much sense. So I was trying to level it out as much as possible. We also framed it in a little bit with the rocks. Once again, I love these rocks, and I love just kind of framing in the past and stuff like that, and it just makes it just look that much more realistic. We end up using a different color rock later in the episode. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to keep that as is later on. You'll see. We ended up doing the gray ones. I think they kind of don't fit, but I don't know. We also dropped down these cacti, these rather large ones, and I also am not entirely sure if those fit either. I don't know. You guys, let me know what you guys think on those, if you like those or if you don't like them. I think I may need a few more of them to actually make it look good. I don't know. We're going to have to play around a little bit and see if we can actually get those looking like they fit. I ended up putting a couple windows there together and kind of made like one big window, and I really like how that one came out. I may have to do that also vertically, because I don't know, the tall ones just don't quite look, I don't know, the windows for whatever reason that fit the Western theme feel a little small to me. Maybe it's because they don't have any framing around them or anything like that, but we end up adding a couple things to the side of the building as well. I don't know if I'm entirely a huge fan with how the roller coaster comes out, or basically like the framing goes into the building. I suppose I could actually edit that track and turn it off, because that was one of the options, I suppose. So maybe we want to look at that. I don't know. Once again, this may be something you guys, let me know what you guys think. I ended up noticing these shop, what are they called, the shop overhangs, and I actually liked how that one looked, so I was like, yeah. And then I was trying to find something for the bottom left of that building. That bottom left corner looked a little plain, so we threw a tree there, and then here's where we actually dropped down the rocks, and I think they look okay. I kept like zooming out and looking and like, no, that doesn't really look. I dropped the bush on there, didn't like how that looked. Dropped that yellow tree and I was like, maybe not. And so then I ended up dropping those bushes and was kind of like, well, let's put a bunch of cactus on top. And then it just seemed like too much green. So we ended up using the shrubbery we've been using before, and I think it's okay. You guys may have to like let me know if you think it does. I don't know. I just don't know if those rocks fit. I'm trying not to only use these same color rocks because I feel like we're gonna run out. Like I think it's gonna get really boring eventually if we keep using the same 6 pieces over and over. So along those same lines, we end up start framing out all these different buildings, and I'm using basically all the different. There's like 2 different. They ended up changing one of the sets. The pirate theme is now rustic theme, which I guess. Okay, that kind of makes sense. So we're using all the different building types from the rustic theme / pirate theme and from the western theme as well. And I think they're pretty similar. At least they're similar enough. I think they'll fit together. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of framing out all the different buildings I'm going to build. I don't know how intense I'm going to build some of these buildings. I don't know. We may, I just honestly don't know. I may do some of it off camera. I'm just gonna have to like just see how long it takes because I do want to get to the other sections of the park. I may be able to just like maybe keep these a little more simple and then just like knock those out in the next episode and then move on to like the mining town or the Mexican town or the Native American town that someone suggested, which I think is a great idea. I may throw that Native American town. Maybe I'll put that one up on the hill. I ended up doing a straight pathway there, or at least a semi-straight pathway. Did not like it at all. So I like fitting with the more western theme. I figured the pathways are going to be a little more sporadic. You're not going to get too many of these straight paths. I think that looks a heck of a lot better. But I decided to kind of throw that out there before I ended up building any more buildings, just so I could kind of build the buildings around the pathway. This building here, you notice I built the archway. I think I may try putting a pathway in there. That was weird. That was like a fragmentation in my recording. But I think I may put a shop in there or something like that. We'll have to see here in a second. And then is this the one? No. Yo, why are you itching, dog? I don't got any fleas over here. But you notice there, I ended up putting like the kind of entryway. Like I'm kind of building like this entryway for the building, and I think it's gonna look really, really cool when we end up finishing it. And then here is my grand building. I decided I liked what I just did with the kind of that entryway before you actually get into the building. And as I was building this, I was like, you know what would make this really, really well? Or you know what this building would... Sorry, I can't speak. You know what this building would be really good as? A church. Like, you know, especially when you talk Western times, what's the biggest building in any sort of Western town? It's usually like the church, right? At least as far as I remember. I mean, it's been a while since I took US history. And in fact, I didn't like US history. I was a big world history buff. US history buff, not so much. So I decided to do these white bricks just because I was like, well, church has got to be white, right? And the problem is I couldn't really find any good roof parts that really went with it. So I ended up starting to use this iron frame and really didn't like how it looked. And I tried switching it, but there's no easy way to switch it. So I ended up having to delete it all. So we ended up deleting it. We ended up going with the same kind of stucco roof we've been using before. I'll probably use those iron roof, at least on a couple of the buildings, but this particular building, not so much. I really wanted a kind of grand roof because once again, this should be like the church. This would be like a really big building. I may end up increasing it another level. I may also build like maybe a back section eventually, like we did the front section. I finalized the roof, but I didn't actually finalize the entire building yet. But once again, I decided, yeah, we'll make this kind of the church. I ended up switching to white brick though, because it just does not look good. And there was really no easy way for me to do this, especially after I put the roof. I couldn't select everything. And you can see here, I'm just kind of playing around with, what kind of colors do I want to make it? So eventually we end up deciding, yeah, I think we'll go with these red bricks. So it was easiest for me to select everything and then unclick all the roof tiles, and then that allowed me to actually start switching the colors. So we're pretty much at the end of this episode. That's about all I got in this episode. I apologize, it's a little bit shorter, but I'm excited to be back playing some more Planet Coaster. I hope you guys are as well. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a like, go ahead, comment, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if these pieces are working or not working. Let me know if any one of these buildings you have any ideas for, and as always, hit the subscribe button, join the GameCommon, show your support, and I'll see you guys in a future episode. Bye.